Hi everyone! Today I'm making my favorite, or I should say one of my favorite dishes. Today is my favorite, but it is sashimi tuna in the oven. And I wanted to share it with you because most people make their tuna seared or they have it raw in sushi. And whenever I tell people how I make my tuna or I make it for them, they cannot believe I cook wild sashimi tuna in the oven for about an hour and a half on 300. They cannot believe it, but I like to experiment, and it comes out so delicious, and it's one of the leanest sources of protein. And I do put a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff in that dish to cook it with. We got some nice ginger, garlic, cilantro, oregano, a little bit of salt in here. I'll come back to this in a second. This is one of my favorite concoctions to cook with. We got some miso paste. We got some mushrooms, onions. Got a little bit of soy sauce, Szechuan. Sometimes I put a little bit of chili reds if I'm in the mood for a little spice. Well, I'm always in the mood for spice, but if you don't have to put it in there. We got a little bit of black pepper. And of course, I have to tell you, one of my favorite things to cook any fish or chicken or beef dishes, pork dish, would be grapefruit juice, marinated in that a little bit. It tenderizes the meat instead of using lemon. Sometimes that can make the protein really tough. And coconut oil, a staple in my kitchen. That's what I cook with all the time. So, well, let's look at this piece of equipment here. We have what is called a mortar and pestle, and I'm sure a lot of you know what it is. Some of you have no idea. You come in my kitchen, you're like, what is that gigantic thing? Well, it's my favorite all-time thing to mash garlic with the cilantro, oregano, ginger, like I just said, a little bit of salt. And you're gonna mash it in here. See this thing? Mash it up until it's like a paste. Let's see, this is what it comes out like once you're done mashing it. So it's like pasty. It's really awesome, and you pour that on the top of the tuna. It's great, but the first thing we're gonna pour on top of the tuna, just because it makes it easier, is going to be a little bit of this miso. And miso has a load of health benefits. Very good for you. And it's so tasty. I love to put it on my meats, my chickens. It tastes so good on its own. It's delicious. See how I rub that right on there, and then I'm going to do a little bit of coconut oil. I personally love, some people don't like coconut, that's okay. Put in the oil that you want, don't put too much. I like coconut oil because I love the way that coconut oil tastes on fish, not just shrimp. I love coconut shrimp. And believe it or not, I'm actually going to, forgot about this little thing here. I'm going to actually add some shrimp on the top once I take my tuna out of the oven after that hour and a half, and I pop it back in for a few just to cook that shrimp. I love that. Now this lovely concoction that I made in the mortar, I'm gonna spread it on the tuna. And why I like to use the mortar and pestle, I'll tell you, it really captures the juices that come out of the cilantro, the garlic, and the ginger, the oregano. Instead of slicing it, because when you slice it, it's not the same. You're putting pieces on. Here, it's just all combined and comes out so much better. It really is more delicious. I just poured a little bit of that grapefruit juice on there. A lot of times people ask me, well, how much do you put on? Well, probably about a tablespoon per tuna steak. You know, I don't really, a lot of times I don't measure. You kind of just sprinkle, like I'm sprinkling the soy sauce and the Szechuan on there because I just really, I guess I'm used to it, but it just a little bit, really. I mean, it's all in moderation. You don't want to douse your food in too much sauce. And put a little bit of pepper, or a lot. I love pepper. Great for your metabolism. And these chili reds, absolutely love them. And I'm not going to put any more salt because I already put it in this little concoction here. So what I'm going to do is I am taking these onions, not the mushrooms yet, because I don't want the mushrooms to disintegrate in an hour and a half. But I like to cook this in with the onions because the onion juices just really get in those steaks, and then they get caramelized on 300. If you do it higher, they might really disintegrate completely. which you don't want. But this is basically it right here. And then I'm just going to cover it up, and I'm going to stick it in the oven so you could see how amazing this dish comes out after it's done. While my tuna is cooking, I just want to let you know what I do with the leftover mixture here. What I do is I normally, actually purposely do a little extra, and I put it in a little bowl with olive oil, right? This is something I always have in my kitchen. And what do I do with this? I don't always put ginger, but why not? I go ahead and stir it, and I usually use this either as a salad dressing, you know, or if I'm making some kind of garlic toast, or anything that I'm making on an everyday basis has this mixture. Like I said, not always with ginger, but if you pour this on any of your proteins, your salads, your vegetables, it's just something nice to have extra, so then you have it already prepared and you can go ahead and just use it. And so I make a little bit more than for the day's worth. You know, I'll make it for the week, and I just go ahead and grab a spoonful every day, and I pour it on whatever it is that I'm making. And this is what it looks like after an hour and a half in the oven at 300. So now what I do is I don't even flip it over. You can if you want to. I just don't even bother, because I'm going to pop it back in the oven for probably 10 to 15 minutes after I add the mushrooms on right now, open face, and also add the shrimp that I told you about. And then, believe it or not, although I have soy sauce on here and Szechuan, and it might sound weird, but I like to try different. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of dusting of cheese on the top so it could melt right over. But not yet, because I'm going to leave this in there for a few minutes and then take it back out, and then I'll put a little bit just for a little touch at the end. Look at that finished product. That is with the cheese sprinkled on the top. Unfriggin' believable. It is so delicious. I wish that you could taste the sauce itself. It's to die for. So I'm gonna take a nice piece of tuna and put it right on my plate. This is a little salad that I just put together: some tomatoes, some avocado, a little bit of onions, and cucumbers. I picked these ingredients up at the fresh market, the farmer's market, and I figured that would go really good with this. And see all these mushrooms at the bottom? So I'm gonna want to scoop some up and put them right on the top there. And guess what I made as a side dish that I absolutely am obsessed with? It is quinoa with my homemade black beans together. And quinoa is very high in protein, fiber. It's got 9 essential amino acids, great for muscle building, right? We all like that. And I love to eat it. I put it on the side instead of rice. I used to love rice, being Spanish, but this is my little concoction. And what I like to do, remember I told you that I like to have this side dish of olive oil and my cilantro and garlic. Well, I just put a little bit. I don't like to put too much oil. Oil is great, you know, good oils are good for you, but everything in moderation. I like to sprinkle it on the top of my salad. I did put some salt and pepper and a little bit of vinegar, which I love the taste on my salads. And you can even sprinkle some on the top of the quinoa and beans. And wow, look at that finished product. I mean, what a great meal. So satisfying and so healthy. Enjoy.